We are two guys, one cup.
Everyone relax. It is Monday, the 18th of May. This is Two Guys, One Cup, an AFL adjacent podcast. I am Charlie Clausen, and with Western Australian footy back on the agenda, we thought we'd bring in WA's favourite son, or, one of 5 favourite sons, at least one of WA's tallest sons, Josh Garlick. Welcome back to Two Guys, One Cup.
That's a really good stipulation. WA's favourite tallest son. Oh, and saying that, Luke Longley's pretty tall as well, and he's pretty famous and successful. So,
yeah,
thanks. Great to hear.
Basil's in because he's pretty tall too, right?
I don't think he's a favourite, though. I think he's big.
Well, according to Basil, he is.
Yeah, God. Don't get me started. I think it's the biggest load of shit out. But anyway, yeah, cool. Great to see you, Charlie. Good to be back here. Lots changed since the first time I was on here, so it's good.
Yeah, well, let's talk about WA footy. It's hot. It's the Dockers. Oh, look, I am all aboard Flag Mantle. As a Saints supporter, I feel like we are cut from the same cloth. I say that Freo are the Saints of the West. But how about those Eagles, eh?
I know. Really good point. The Saints. I was actually having a discussion with someone yesterday about that. Is someone was saying when they moved to Melbourne, because I moved, me and the boys from Kick It Forward, we moved here a year ago. And we've set up a studio and stuff like that, but that's irrelevant. It's more, we were talking to one of the guy's girlfriends saying, why did you choose St Kilda when you moved here? And they suggested it because they're the most inoffensive team and no one really cares. Like, people get angry, but Ross Lyon can stick around for so long not winning and kind of doesn't, until this year, didn't really get much flack. And I feel like Freo, when you would see the teams lose last year in a year they were meant to do really well, the fans were like, yeah, we'll probably still be here next week. It's fine. There's a real love there. They're a pretty cool, they've got a cool kit. They've got Fremantle, the area is really, really cool. So it's really good this year. I'm a Fremantle fan for them to be doing so well. And they have a fun team. They're so fun to watch. They finally can kick goals. And they're at that perfect level of young, exciting group where there's no sort of weird stipulation around them or Jordan DeGoey off-season thing yet or anything like that. They're just all guys that seem to like Fremantle and living around Fremantle and then winning.
It's a shockingly competent year, which raises the spectre of what could go wrong. I'll give you an example. In 2009, St Kilda went on. I think we won the first 17 games of the season. The only game we lost was to Essendon by 4 points or something like that. And I remember going on Big Footy. And the discussion amongst other footy fans was not how impressive St Kilda's start to the season was. It was how are they going to fuck this up? How are they going to fuck up this incredible start to the season? And so that's the only thing I'm holding on with Freo is I agree. Their list is incredible. Everything is going for them. Even Wharfie time, this thing that in any other time period, if it was Gold Coast trying to get it going, or it was GWS, or it would seem really just hackneyed and forced. But even Wharfie time, everyone's yeah, Wharfie time's working. So that's when you know they're on a roll.
It's so funny. The Wharfie time thing's been around for ages. So I don't know if you know the origin with Matthew Pavlich grabbing
that's
the
right.
guys.
Come on, boys, put in your Superman capes.
Capes is Wharfie time. And we pitched to the clubs. So we did a schedule release. I don't know if you know, the NFL, how they always will get people in to do. They really get crazy with their schedule releases. They did it recently. And they get celebrities in and they go sort of quite a bit nuts and funny, the NFL club. So Freo
when
let
you
us
say
do
schedule release, is this? Do you mean fixture? Is it
the fixtures? The fixtures.
Right.
So the AFL's really tried to start doing that because it's in a dead zone of content. It's around November, December. So Fremantle, they asked us to, because we know a lot of the people. It's even though it's a big organization, there's a great bunch of people behind the scenes there, and we've just had a great experience. And randomly, we bump into the CEO all the time on the piss by accident, just at these events. And he has so much time for us, which has been sick because, I don't know, until then they were somewhat irrelevant club, and he's such an interesting bloke, Simon Garlick. But they asked to do it. We really like their content team. We did this thing, and it was about Wharfie time. And the original pitch was we should get Tame Impala, the number 1 ticket holder, to be in it, and then he would walk in, and we got the guy to create the Wharfie time song. And then behind him would be Caleb Sarong, and then we would make the greatest song ever with Caleb Sarong, but never release, and really just do nothing with Tame Impala. The club said yes. Tame Impala never responded, so
No,
that's fine.
Can't imagine why.
I know I can't figure out why. But I with the Wolfie time thing, I find it so funny because they're so protective of the club about not rinsing it too hard.
Mm.
And it's like the marketing team that presses okay on it, and it's like this Helvetica basic font that just flashes on screen like this. It's so perfectly basic and hilarious. Like,
Generic clip art that they've just grabbed.
yeah, it's so sick. And so the fact they're like 9 in a row now or something like that is, yeah, I mean, winning makes anything look cool, right? No, they're like even the Essendon game. You're saying the pessimistic like St Kilda fans. We were pissing ourselves yesterday about the amount of people had said to us before the Freo game, "Oh, danger game for you lot, danger game, Essendon." And I was like, "No, it isn't, not at all. Like they're in complete different. Like, what are you talking about?" But just that pessimism of saying, if we lose, at least I was right in knowing it was a danger game."
Yeah, I was. Just was watching Access All Areas, my favorite Monday. So, I mean, Josh, do you think there are too many football shows on television and the internet? Because I don't. I think more, please. I need to.
I reckon. I mean, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, we're just at the point now where, like, the stories aren't even about the football anymore. I'm not sure if you caught the beef between Kane Cornes and Damien Barrett last week, but I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? Why is this even a story? These two super wealthy, footy journalists, like, bickering about whether or not someone paid for a story. Who cares? Why are we devoting any airtime to this?
Well, I think like this happened probably the last 5 years a lot. It's particularly between Damo and Kano, so the O's. They argue that people do like it and that it gets clicks and that it actually does get engagement. But I would argue like a fair bit of the engagement is like anger of saying this isn't a fucking story.
Yeah.
But I think there is way too many shows, and that's what makes it hilarious. Like, I think if we ever we're looking for an editor right now because we currently edit all our stuff in the pod and stuff like that. But if I ever had like a producer where I had enough money, I would get them to watch every single press conference, every single TV show, every single radio show in every state, and that would just be their one job and clip up all the repeated shitty lines and stuff like that because there are so many shows that it would be impossible for anyone to watch every piece of content in a week. It would take 10 people to think that each club has 5 press conferences a week. The fact that, and they go for 20 minutes in like the Gold Coast and stuff. So I think there is, and then the reality is there's like 12 million fans for this sport that is only in half of Australia, and then on top of that, that also makes it really funny and cool. The fact that there's the biggest bubble ever in Melbourne with that needs, and like sometimes, do you ever do this, Charlie? Like you'll be like, I don't know, because you're around about the media and like Jason and stuff like that. And you might get a request for a show and it's like on 7 and you've never heard of it and it's been running for 2 years. And like,
and it's always got a name that's like, it's a football cliche. It's like, lacing them up or something like that.
There was one, The Roast, the other day, and I legitimately had never ever heard of it ever. And it's been gone for 2 years apparently. But
who's that? The Roast.
It was good names. It was like Campbell Brown. I see him. There's a bunch of couches sitting on couches, sort of thing.
Yeah, is that 7, right?
Yeah, that one's 7. I think because when 7 got the rights most recently, they were forced to do a bunch of supportive content, and this is part of it. So they've done okay to do that, but it's like not like they've done anything crazy. Like it's all just couches. Kane has probably been the biggest thing. They've brought Kane over, haven't they?
Yeah.
Are you a big Kane fan?
Oh, look, I have come around. You know what I am? I'm a Kane and Kingy fan. Kane,
me too.
I found like it's just so contrived. Like initially, I think in the first couple of years, I got sucked into what is this guy doing? The Red Simons of AFL, you know, like hit the gong. But then when they paired him up with David King, but I feel it's a delicate ecosystem now because I think it's really good. It's really good chemistry, really good combo. But Will sort of pointed this out last year, and I've been keeping an eye on it. It was a bit better when Kingy was just the stats man and Kano was just the hanging judge. That was the dynamic. The odd couple. You got your kind of by the book guy. You got your kind of firebrand. But now they're both kind of sort of leaning into the comedy a bit more. And the self-aware David King who thinks he's funny, is not good for anyone. It's not good for him. It's not good for the audience.
I kind of like it. I think like they, as much as yeah, it can. They do use a lot of their content in the first 45 minutes of a program, and then it's a lot of paid SEN spots. Like if you
Yes.
listen to it live, it really feels like there is no. You can switch back and forth and then realize you haven't listened to any people speaking other than ads for that whole time.
Oh, it's been
But,
in jokes for 45 minutes. It's been
Yeah.
references to previous episodes or their producer or their producer's predilections. It's just like,
But it's like a podcast. They've made a podcast that's on radio. Like it's all
Yeah.
in jokes and stuff. But no, I think like they bring out the best in each other really, because like I think isolated, you see them both on TV. They're so rigid.
Mm.
And then I think I find it funny how bad the ideas are though. And I think they're conscious that some of the ideas are bad, and like King's pretty self-deprecating, I think. So I'm actually in defense of David King. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan. So
oh
yeah.
no, I'm a fan of David King. It's
Mm.
just that when he strays into kind of doing like his parody songs and stuff like that, I'm like, No.
I love him. I love him.
he actually recorded a little message for our show last year. We played it at our live show.
Oh, cool.
And because I do a bit of a David King impression, and so he kind
Nice.
of had responded to that, and that's the area I like it in, which is like I'll just leave the comedy to the professionals, and I'll dip into that world, but I don't necessarily see myself as funny. But I think it's relative, right? Next to Kane Corns, he probably is the funny guy.
Yeah, totally. And then he brings him into line and stuff like that.
I mean, have you noted like Kane's latest thing of like stuff that's underrated, stuff that's overrated? I'm like, why are we doing BuzzFeed listicles?
Have I noticed the 21 long list? Yeah, I've noticed the list. We want to do a parody of it, but it just got boring because we are going to do like 150. Like, because I was like, why did they do 21 and like 5? It was
Yeah.
so long. And it's because as SEN, so they have to fill 9 minutes. So we were going to do a parody of like, 150 or something. But we were writing it, getting bored. So we're just like, oh, let's move on. Like, it's, yeah, they just have so much time to fill. I think that's the thing with SEN. Like, when you go on if you do an interview on there, it's not 3 minutes. It's like 14. So,
Yeah.
And that's kind of the cool thing is that if it's interesting, it can breathe, but sometimes it's not that interesting. Like, if it's like the Signet Boost power bank corner with like, red Z lending stats or something.
I mean, I live in Byron Bay. I'm like the furthest place from Melbourne or SEN or that kind of like whole kind of culture.
Yeah.
But I still listen to it. Like I listen to it all the time. I'm walking around in, 30-degree heat, my shorts and singlet, listening to SEN, listening to them. And one thing I love about it is anytime any of their personalities are forced to stray outside of sport, like when Tom Hanks was spotted at the football and the question became, well, what's your favorite Tom Hanks movie? And the way they have to struggle to think of a Tom Hanks film that they've seen.
Yeah.
Then what was the major point of it again? I can't remember. There's a plot. Didn't he play like a guy with brain damage or something who sits on a park bench eating chocolates? Like, that's when I love it. That's when they can't talk about sport or football in particular. Then
Was that big? Was that big, that movie? That was big, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I love all the media side of it, especially because it's so close here. Like, especially moving to Melbourne. I always will move back to Perth. Love Perth so much, but it is crazy the amount of money in this one sport wrapped up in these broadcast deals and everything around it that is so intensified in this one city that if you're a content creator like us or like doing something, you somehow get brought into that world pretty easily. Like the barrier of entry wasn't that hard to start doing it because they need to keep growing the sport and stuff like that.
Is it more intense in somewhere like Victoria, or if you go to WA or South Australia where it's a 2-team town? Like, does that not make the attention even more focused because there's only really 2 teams to write about?
That's true, but I think it gets focused on the outliers a lot more. So when it's Harley Reid and there's 50,000 articles, or when Jesse Hogan's like having a bit of sort of a mental break and is struggling a lot, and it feels like it's intensified in those moments on those players like Jordan Dawson, with the horrendous thing that happened with him. That was a huge story, obviously, in Adelaide, and that was so intense there. But I feel like here it's a bit different just because it hits you from all angles. Like everyone involved in business is somehow like their first question is, footy team related, and on the same token, like you can be at a pub and there's a bunch of footy players here, and no one cares, because if they're like North Melbourne or St Kilda list players, I'd be like, oh, that's that guy who plays. And my girlfriend like, why would I give a fuck? In Perth, it's definitely a bit more intense in that regard. Like the
Yeah.
celebrity status, in Adelaide, the celebrity status of these people in a small town where there aren't, you know, F1 drivers walking around, or like potentially movie stars and stuff like that. I completely get that. But at the same time, it is intense here. I think just the media side, it's like that, the fact that Chompers thinks he's a celebrity, the fact that all the, like Nathan Brown. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's such a bubble. So when they have like the list of celebrities, it's like Nadia Bartel, Chompers, and me, which is the worst list I've ever heard. So I think, yeah, in that way, I hope that explains it a little bit better. But that's just been my opinion. I do find it kind of cool here that I see Charlie Spargo at the cafe all the time. And again, no one cares. And
Yeah,
stuff
a mate
like
of
that.
mine.
Yeah.
I'm in a Saints WhatsApp chat, and one of
the
the guys in
incel
the
crew.
group.
Sorry, that was a low hanging group. Like, I just anytime anyone says I'm in a fan base, it's just like you rip on them slightly. It's just like instinctive. Sorry.
I did not take any offense to it, but he's giving us constant Max King updates, because Max King goes to his gym and they often have a sauna together. We call it the sauna updates, because he's like,
Right.
Max is feeling good, he's feeling confident. It's like, I don't know. I think you seem to be the common denominator. Max can't make it back on the field, and you keep talking about the amount of times he's spending in the
Stop
sauna.
talking to him.
Maybe that's the issue. Maybe too much heat.
How did Wilkie go on the weekend? I saw him on the. This is a new segment. It's called I Saw Him, and it's just if I see a role player randomly. Although he's a captain, I saw Wilkie.
You
the
mean
other
in
day,
real
and he was
life? You saw him in real life at Woolies or something. He looked real sore. Did he look sore when you saw him in real life?
Yeah, I think he had a major, like, pretty bad injury, because he was like coming from getting scans when I saw him.
Yeah, Ben King kneed him in the spine up in Darwin last week, and because Cal Wilkie famously has not missed a game since debut. I think it's set a record 156 or whatever it is. Hadn't even spent any time on the bench. Had only done like 5 minutes on the bench this season.
Really?
Because he's that durable. Yeah. But he played yesterday, but he looked like he couldn't bend over. I mean, I'm 48. I know the feeling just because of the age I'm at. Like I get up in the morning and try and put my Ugg boots on, and I can not bend over. That's how he looked on the football field. So no, I don't think we're just not in a position where we can not play him. He holds our entire back line together. St Kilda has some good. Like we're getting better, but we don't have the depth of other teams. It's like, you look at Sydney or Freo or in Brisbane or any of these kind of teams. It's like every player is a superstar. We have like 5 superstars, and then we sort of string them together with some role players.
As much as I'm like the first person to point the finger at Lyon,
yeah, you don't like Ross Lyon. I remember this from our last chat.
No, I know. I found him annoying.
Inside word.
Yeah, like I found him annoying back in the day, but I think he also he's pretty good at manipulating the media to avoid flack, but I mean, is he like, people talk about whether
I think he's so unskilled at manipulate. He's so obvious when he does it, like he'll either aggressively go them. He does the rhetorical question thing where he asks the question back to them. He asks them to repeat statistics, or he'll just change the subject completely.
That's true.
But you brought it up before. I meant to mention that you're saying like the amount of, press conferences and media clips, like if you paid a producer to watch this full time, I don't know why the AFL compel coaches to do press conferences every week. Like, what is Adam Uze going to say every week? Like, man, like 30% more, 60% of our list is in hospital. We don't have players. Of course, we're not winning games. Like, what do you want them to say? I think I want to hear from Stephen King. I want to hear from Justin Longmuir. Like, teams that are doing really well where interesting things are happening. But, pushing guys like Ross Lyon out when they obviously don't want to talk, like, you're just wasting you're wasting the journalist time, you're wasting our time.
I think though, like, as soon as they stop, they say, oh, you don't have to do it. They just won't do it. So it needs to be a catch-all where they do it. And then even if it's crap and they get one question and it's from the media team about their sponsor read or something, I think that's fine. But just the way these guys, they love to be a closed,
the bubble,
and not let people view in. So on one hand, I think there is a lot of media, but on the other hand, I know that as soon as they don't have to do it, they won't. It's interesting you say that though, because like Brad Scott's ones have gone viral a lot this year because he's a bit like chippy and says little weird things and kind of funny. I reckon a good clip would be clipping up every time he said we need patience from the fans. over 4 years or 3 years. I think he's said it almost every press conference, which is pretty funny. Like you could do it as a time lapse, but it'll just take a while. But then like McWalter or whatever from West Coast, I haven't seen one of them go viral. You know what I mean? Because it's a pretty, as you said, it's like pretty boring.
Yeah. Well, what do you? I mean, Minnie's kind of the same as Adam Uzo. It's like, what's he going to say? You know, you've got a couple of good young players you're developing. I mean, after a win like yesterday, sure, you want to hear from them, but the rest of the time, well, because they've had what, 2 massive losses, 200-point losses. Like, we all understand.
You know what's crazy is they're now tied with Port Adelaide on wins. They've had 3 wins. They're not actually that far out of the 10.
No.
What a crazy. They have the weirdest team because they have a couple guys who are just so good, but they're young, so they're so inconsistent. They might end up with 5 or 6 wins, which would probably be overall a win for them this year.
I mean, you got to admire West Coast fans too. Just like the way that the stadium's never really been empty in the last 5 years. Like what, minimum 30, 40,000? You probably wouldn't even get below 40. Like
I think they're averaging 37,000 this year.
Yeah, right.
It might be 40, so that might be include away games.
And considering how nice WA is during winter and the all the amazing things you could be doing that isn't watching football, it's a real testament to their fans. You mentioned Brad Scott before. There was a great moment pre-game before the Freo game where Cameron Mooney asked him about Ben King playing. Did you pick up this spot?
Scotty,
no, I didn't see
Benny Mackay back in the team. You're going to need him, obviously, with this 3-pronged attack that Fremantle have. We know how good they are at scoring. So what is he going to bring back and how's his confidence?
Well, you might know something I don't, Moons, but no, Benny's not in the team today.
That's tough. 4 Moons. Was he dropped or was he just never in the side? Has he been out for a while?
He's been out for a while. He got dropped 2 weeks ago. He just wasn't back in. Cameron, either like the researcher or Cameron Mooney just got it in his head that he was back. But that was the first time I've seen Brad Scott smile all year. So I was happy for that.
He had the one the other week, which was pretty funny, saying like, I just have to take my wife to Gimlet again or something like that, another Gimlet voucher or something like that, which is like a hell expensive restaurant in Melbourne. But yeah, he's funny. I think we tried to interview him at the Brownlow and him and his brother, because we always do these like silly questions. It's just like a really easy thing to do every year. But we were like,
is it Brad, questions?
Yeah, like there's like Triple. I'm not saying we like invented the wheel. We copied someone. Like Triple M do like shit Brownlow questions, and we just do awkward ones. So I'm sure they would say we stole it, but yeah, we did. But it's not as if Vox Pops were invented by Triple M. You know what I mean? Like
hey, you guys One Cup invented the term Richmondy, and it got adopted, and we never got credited. So. Don't worry about it.
And then Dockery, that's used by the WA guys about the Dockers' inability to win. So, people stealing left, right, centre. But Brad Scott walked past. I'm like, a word, Brad? He's like, nah. And then Chris is directly behind. I'm like, what about you, Chris? And he just smiles and just keeps walking. But Brad looked at me, didn't break stride, and goes, no. And no, like he wanted to punch me in the face. So,
well,
he's a prickly guy.
I've told this story before, but the Scott brothers, they went to the school down the road from the school that I went to, and they were a year above me. And all through my teens, all you heard about was the Scott brothers, like the Cray brothers. You'd hear these like stories that became myth about there was a party on the weekend, and the Scott brothers beat some guy up and threw him off a balcony. Like I don't know if any of it was true, but when they started playing football, I'm like, oh my God, it's the Scott brothers. What chaos are they gonna wrought on the AFL? And then there was that incident remember when Nick Revolt broke his collarbone against Brisbane, and they were like bumping him, and it's like, that's them, that's the Scott brothers, that's them for sure.
Yeah, they'd be intimidating as a coach. I mean, like Chris Scott's done so well. It's pretty amazing.
He's amazing. I love hearing Chris Scott talk about football. I think he's such a smart guy and very honest for a coach. Like he's one of those guys who I would like a press conference every week is interesting from him because he always has. He's not afraid to criticize like the AFL. You know, he talks honestly about the team. He won't sort of do Ross Lyons sort of diversions and stuff. He'll just talk about why a player's been dropped or if they're resting someone or if someone's injured. It just doesn't sit with my teenage idea of what this guy was to have him be so articulate.
I know. And then I guess it helps they're always winning. because you
Yes.
don't get a guy doing that sort of thing when they're like 0 and 17. You
Yeah,
need to be consistently
unbelievable.
good for about 10 years or something like that, which he is. Okay, is he 12 years there or something now? I can't.
Yeah, 20. No, it's longer than that. He took over in 2011. That was the first flag they won, was 2011. So 15 years. I don't know if you've been, if you're following afl.com.au over the weekend, but I think we need to maybe kick it forward in Two Guys, One Cup. We can chip in and get their article writer a thesaurus, because this was what was going on. So the Demons beat Hawthorn, the headline.
Yep.
Demons declare their intentions with stunning humbling of the Hawks. Fair enough. It was a stunning turnaround, especially after halftime. Then the Crows make a statement with stunning ruse thrashing. Okay. All right. And then yesterday after the Eagles win, Eagles shock. Harley Sparks stunning upset of Giants. What is going on?
Is it all AI now? Like, are they? They fired their media department
That was
or
my
something?
first thought as well. It's got to be AI, right?
Maybe. I think yeah, whatever happened with that? They were saying they were firing all their media department last year, and then Hutchie and Eddie were fighting to get their Gen Z TikTok contract or something.
Yeah.
But I never really heard anything about it, and it feels like they haven't had dropped any of the content that they were previously making.
Well, what would it be for stuff like that? It could easily be AI, right? Like they just would just get them to scan what other people are writing about it. But in terms of the content, isn't it like they'll just have been seeing Daniel Gorringe all through the preseason? It was Dan Gorringe was.
I think they
everywhere.
signed him to a year-long contract,
right. I assume that he was there.
Yeah.
So old man media got a real slap in the face.
Yeah, that's right. With Gorringe, yeah. Hey, I think they signed him to I don't know the details of it, but it was.
Did they talk to you guys?
Exclusivity. Nah. We've had a really weird, the AFL have been good to us in some capacity. It's more the clubs have always been really good to us, like certain clubs, like Adelaide and Fremantle and a couple Melbourne clubs, that'd been great. But no, the AFL haven't reached out to us. We've done a couple of things, but it's really weird to say they actually pay really poorly. One time we did a video and it was, we gather around, it was in its second year and we were going and we didn't have tickets because we missed out. So we were like, oh, we'll do this video. And, we would have charged a certain amount for it previously. And we got friends in to help and stuff like this when we were in Perth. And I think they offered us one ticket to a game and there's 3 of us. And it, but then at the same time, there's so many departments and stuff, anything. Maybe editorial had no access, but then Adelaide gave us 6 tickets. So it was fine. And it was a blink of an eye. I remember getting the email. I remember the email was like, we can give you 1 ticket. I was like, but there's 3 of us.
That's so weird.
It was so weird. And
even at my lowly status, I get offered free tickets. So that's
surely must be nice, mate.
I was an ambassador for the St Kilda Football Club at one stage, but I think my diplomatic status has been revoked.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I no longer get invitations. The problem for when you're a Saints fan is as long as Eric Banner is at the club, like Shane Warne dying, that lowers the bar a little bit, but Eric Banner's there, and so I'm never going to get past a Hollywood movie star.
I got to ask, Charlie, when you go down to the club, because you're this diehard St Kilda fan, when you do anything there, you have you're a handsome man, you got a greyish beard, you're of the same sort of age demographic of Eric Banner. Yeah. Do people ever accidentally think you're Eric Banner?
No.
Because you're also an actor or anything? Do they go is there ever a double take?
No, there's never been a double take. I emceed the Best and Fairest a few years ago where Eric was there. He's about, I'm not tall. He's like 6'2", I'm 5'10".
Oh, right. Okay.
So especially in the room.
Cal Wilkie, we did a video with him and it's not out yet. We did it in the preseason and I was like, because I'm older, I'm probably 10 years older than him and I'm a massive movie buff.
Cal Wilkie?
Yeah, I think he's
Really?
Yeah, I'm 37 in the content game, but
you're very young. Look at that.
Oh, thank you so much, mate.
Especially growing up in WA, how did you keep your skin so?
I don't know.
Youthful?
I'm lucky guy, I guess. But the other boys I work with are far younger. But they but Cal, I was like just interested by Eric Banner. Like I find it interesting that there's this sort of world famous guy that is a nuffy. And he goes, yeah, we played golf once. And it was weird because, he's so famous. But all he wanted to talk about was like the 40th guy on the list. Like he was
What?
so in. Like he was like wanting about
Yeah.
the VFL players and stuff. Like he was like that level. Like it was like you were speaking to the guy that goes to training.
Yeah. He does go to training. Like,
Yeah.
like his best mates with Andrew Bassett and Nick Revolt and
Mm.
stuff like that. And so, because I've heard him talk about it, and it's like, oh, you're not just a fan. Like when I talk about it, I'm not involved. Like
Yes,
the media team might reach out to me occasionally if they need something, but I'm not. I'm no way in the sanctum, and I kind of think that's good because I want to be able to do a show like this where I can make
Yes,
fun of them
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. But then you hear him talk about it. Like I know when the Bulldogs won in 2016, like he was living in LA for a while, and I think he had to interview Chris Hemsworth before the very first Thor movie came out for GQ. It's like they're doing a feature article or whatever. And I remember him speaking to me and saying, "Oh, there's this young like home and away guy. Looks like his career's about to take off. He's doing this Marvel movie and stuff." And Will had been, probably the Bulldogs' most prominent celebrity fan. And then fucking Chris Hemsworth is on grand final day when they had that historic premiership. There's photos of like Chris Hemsworth in the change rooms, like with his dad, with Liam Hemsworth, like kissing the bont and all this kind of stuff. It's like, all right, well, I guess that takes precedent. The bigger
You
the
can get
star.
bumps pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
always find it funny that the number one ticket holder is Tame Impala or Kevin Parker in Perth
Yeah.
for Freo, but for 3 years it was Ben Robert Smith. So like, yeah, yeah, and like, like he was very different when he was that figure then. But
yeah.
it's just there's all these photos of him in like Freo kit and stuff like
Oh
that.
my
It's pretty
God.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, look, I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's lots. Well, I mean, Ben Cousins is still very much like Ben Cousins, the way he's been kind of, I mean, no, I'm speaking figuratively and literally, like rehabilitated into public life. Like it's just amazing. Like there was that talk about when Harley Reid's contract was up for, renegotiation and people talking about whether he'll come back. And I always was like, well, it's a double-edged sword, right? You can stay in Perth and just be the king of WA, like just ask for rottenness, and they might even give it to you. Like he could really, but with that attention comes the flip side of that. If things start going wrong, or if you're having troubles or whatever, then it becomes this like incredibly strong focus on you. But the Ben Cousins things is like, despite him what he put all his family through, all his friends through, what he put the club through, they've still welcomed him back. And now, and this is good. Like I'm happy for him. I'm happy he's got his life together. But it is amazing the amount of chances you get when you're good at football.
Oh yeah, I mean it's kind of gross, really. But at the same time, like I used to live in Northbridge in Perth, and you could hear a pin drop when Cousins would be the one that walks in, and at a Chinese restaurant or something like that, or Vietnamese around the corner, and he's still the biggest celebrity in town. Like he's the most known face for like. You will have people in the comments if anything ever happens to him, Daniel Kerr, Daniel Chick, just defending him till the end. Like it's not like a delusion of grandeur. They're gods there. Like it's still a big thing. Like that 2006 side, Cousins was sort of this WA grown like crazy wonder that everyone handsome and so jacked and stuff. And then he was like, you heard rumors. I remember my friend crying in school because he found out he did drugs.
Oh, did you?
We
I
were
read
like,
his. I read
yeah.
I read his book, his autobiography.
How many ghostwriters did that have, you reckon?
Like I mean, dozens for sure. And
Yeah.
the thing about it too, is like it's pretty harrowing. I'm not a big fan of like there's a lot of rock and roll biographies and autobiographies which are the same, like Scar Tissue, which I kind of read these. I get annoyed when I read these stories of people who have everything given to them and they fuck it up, because of drugs or whatever. Like, And this one, like, it's harrowing because it's like he just keeps sort of falling back in the trap. But I did get an understanding of the psychology. I'm not sure whether he has like OCD or what it is, but he said he didn't really touch drugs until he was in his early 20s. But then when it sort of got introduced into his kind of lifestyle, it became part of his routine where he wouldn't touch drugs, Monday to Friday, say, and he would train really hard. And if he had a good game, had 30 touches, whatever, contested balls, whatever, he would then reward himself by having a massive Saturday night. And then he'd feel so shit on the Sunday and Monday that he would punish himself on the track and do, extra sprints or whatever it was. And so it became this kind of this feedback loop where he would just get, and because of his incredible athletic ability and his mental strength to, play football, he then just decided applying that to taking drugs. And so I think that's sustainable when you are, say, 25 to 30, but then after that, obviously the wheels fell off. So I do have an understanding of why it happened, but it doesn't make it any less tragic.
Yeah, totally. I think like one thing people always forget with that period. So meth was exploding in Perth, but no one really knew it as methamphetamine as they know it now, like as this crippling, disgusting drug. It was people were taking it, like my brother when he was in school, a couple of his mates were meth addicts and, have never recovered or they're dead. So like people didn't know it was that. So they were probably taking it in parties and stuff like that. And then they were lifelong meth addicts. And I think he was in that era, when you watch that Such Is Life doco, which is still on YouTube in like 480 resolutions, so bad, but it's awesome. Like, I can't believe they got all this footage of him just like smoking meth on camcorders.
Crazy, right?
And he's like, and I would train, knowing it, whether it be 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, end of that block, I would get as like fucked up and it was just like so honest and weird. And the fact they did it, like, yeah, it is crazy. There was a story when I worked at the West Australian that like John Kizon, who was this big gangster at the time, was somehow affiliated with him. And that this is what a journalist told me, is that he was checking in with the journalists and the police because he was worried about Ben because he hadn't seen him.
Oh my God. Fucking hell.
So yeah,
Wow.
he was a full blown addict and stuff like that. Like, it is crazy, and he's doing way better. And I think like friends I know that still work in the media in Perth have worked with him and said he's like lovely, and he's like, he's definitely impacted himself from years and years of use. And it does make things a little bit hard, but it gives him an income, and then probably helps the people around him as well. But I think there was a thing like an exclusive Judd and Cousins speak for the first time or something.
Yeah, I saw
like
that.
sit down.
Yeah.
It was so bland and slow, but it probably is like because there probably wasn't much else out of it. Like
No.
like I don't know.
Yeah, and they're such different personalities. Like Chris Judd is just such a kind of type A personality. Like, I saw some news story on him last year because he started he's like a trader now or something like that, or his financial advice business. And it's like, this is just one of those dudes who, there's certain players, I think Nick Revolt's like this, I think Danger's a bit like this. There's certain players who, whatever they're just going to focus on, they're just going to succeed at that. They just excel. And football is not the be and all end all. You know what I mean? It was just a means to an end. So they made good money, got their profile up, but they were going to set off 4 or 5 other businesses off the back of that. And he is exactly that. Like, I am just going to teach myself how to trade, become really successful at it, make even more money.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's made so much more, but he, there's a massive leg up by being him. Like, the amount of businessmen that are like, oh yeah, I'll spend $200,000 if I get to hang out with the guy I love so much.
Especially
like,
going to Carlton, and that's and Carlton's entire coterie system is built around that. Like, wealthy businessmen who can give you whatever you need as long as you can have like a long lunch with them once a month.
Well, that Michael Warner book, the Boys Club, whatever, which was
correct.
kind of not really promoted by the AFL. It kind of details all of that. Even in WA, it's like the amount of people that were dropped into board roles and stuff like that. I do worry about like clubs like West Coast and Essendon, where there is no sort of extrinsic requirement to be potentially get better financially because they will just get members every single year. Like West Coast will still make a profit every single year. Essendon will still make a profit every single year. So there won't be much change probably in the front office.
Yeah.
There'll be efforts in like everywhere else in the club. I want to say, Essendon had one of the worst in-game like entertainment things yesterday
Activations.
at the game. Far out, it was bad. It was so
What was
lazy. It was just like there was nothing. It was just like they had a because it's so Doug Niss, no, maybe is it the Indigenous round
Yeah.
right now? It normally goes
Yes,
over for
Doug
2
Nicholls,
weeks.
so Doug Nicholls round. Yeah.
So Doug Nicholls round, and they normally like there's so many great, amazing like in-game activations and celebrations of what the Indigenous community have added to this sport. But like maybe because it was raining, they kept crossing after a goal to a guy playing a didgeridoo. But he was in like this weird concrete dugout on like a plastic white chair.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And it was really cool, but like there was that,
Why?
and then yeah.
So underwhelming.
Like I don't know, like there was no lights. I mean, it was during the day, and there was 25,000 people there. Probably one of their worst crowds. So like I don't know. I think like sometimes those clubs get a bit sycophantic behind the walls
100%.
for the front office, and then maybe that's an issue too.
Well, Essendon and Carlton have been like a frequent topic of discussion this year on the pod, and I've had like Bomber supporters on, I've had Carlton supporters on, and they are those big old school Victorian clubs, traditionally powerful clubs. Richmond are a bit different because they've had recent success, but they're just so controlled by those coterie groups, those very powerful kind of groups of influence, which. It's so weird to talk about a club like that has a personality, but there is a sense of kind of arrogance, right? Like,
totally, no, completely. There's no other word. And like,
Yeah.
I know I'm speaking as a bitter Freo fan who thinks that West Coast can be arrogant, and I'm not saying the coaches or players are that ever, but I think there's an aura of like entitlement, which is
Entitlement's
probably
probably
why.
a better
entitlement
word,
is probably
right?
because you've got people at those clubs that have worked there for 30, 40 years. And, it's their entire life, which is awesome, but it also creates like probably sometimes a bad situation. Mate, this is entirely me talking out my ass. I have no clue, but
No, I think I'm a guy who's in his front room, his house in Byron Bay, talking like I know, but it does sort of feel like you're right that the trappings of being a successful club, no matter what you do on field, is a huge issue. Like Carlton fans, especially like Carlton. It's inconceivable to me as a guy who grew up in the 80s that Carlton would be this shit. Like it just
still,
and they've had so many false dawns. Like, and you look at the sort of coaching situation with them, and it was just perfect, right? That they get the new coach bounce and they actually have a win against the Dogs. Like I feel for Michael Voss because I don't really feel like I don't know that Michael Voss was the problem necessarily. But you must look at what happens on the weekend and go, it's like breaking up with someone and they get hot. It's the X bounce. Like all of a sudden, they get a glow up and suddenly, they're studying law, they get a promotion at work. And it's like, was I the thing that was holding them back? But if you look at.
Sorry, you described my ex-girlfriend. Sorry, I had a flashback.
If you look at Carlton's last 5 coaches, they have tried everything, right? They go for the Messiah coach with the Mick Malthouse. They go for the untried with David Teague. They go for the kind of nerdy sort of stats guy in Brendan Bolton. Then they go for the guy who's done the hard yards and a senior coach once, went back to being assistant. So they've tried everything and none of it's worked, at least from that position, from the coach down. So then naturally your mind goes, well, is there other sort of structural issues at the club? Is it not just about the coach? Is it about the boardroom? And when you look at that club, Carlton will sell merch no matter what. They are a big club, Blue Abroad, one of the biggest YouTubers going around. Like they'll get easily after a game, get 2,000 people doing a fan cams after the game. Like that's a lot of engagement.
On a 6-hour fan cam, I might add.
Insane. Like Terry is a saint. Like Terry is doing more for the mental health of people in Victoria than a lot of other organisations.
I'm like, look at the production of this thing. This is like better than any like panel show I've seen. Like the way he's figured out the cameras and stuff. It's crazy. Yeah, I think he does a great job, as you said.
Yeah, but
sorry, back to your point.
But he's the first to admit that like the club has lost touch with why the fans are buying the memberships and how long can it last? Because I think when you have like, West Coast is the same. When you have that many members who are, and what's the waiting list at West Coast? It's like 20 years or something.
It's actually dropped down heaps. So
has it?
Yeah, so it used to be 20 years and $50 for waiting in the wings for, that many people. But a lot of my friends have, they've been waiting and then it took them 6 months or a year now. So there has been a shift in that side. So that was their biggest revenue. One of their biggest revenues was this waiting in the wings. And now it would been, it's been significantly probably chopped up.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the West Coast drop off has been like West Coast 2 years ago were historically bad. Like they're talking about,
Last year, they had one win.
yeah, right. Well, but clubs that have folded, like Fitzroy and University in 1905, or whatever it
Yeah,
was, had
yeah.
better winning records than West
I
Coast.
miss them. I miss University. All the
Well,
5'2" guys running around. No, yeah,
when you had
it's
36 players a team, games would go
It's
for
always
4
like-
days.
I love it how they always chuck in a stat. They're like, oh, and of course there was Johnny Bloggs or something, and he never won a game and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but they're also like, they had
He
2
died
world
of
wars and
They
stuff.
died in their 30s.
The ripe old age of 22 or something. And then, yeah, I do find it like even like on the jersey sales and stuff. Like Essendon, I reckon they've done 3 collabs of like merch drops with random popular brands, and they've all sold really well. Yeah, I think it's always the thing is people love the sport so much, it is always sustainable. Like they, as much as people say they're turning their back on Carlton, I don't think they will. As soon as they're good, they'll jump back, they'll flood back, and same with Essendon. But yeah, the Carlton one's so interesting. I do find it funny, like every time, and it's different this time because the 2 coaches that are available that are previously winning premierships are actually like still set to be a good coach in Adam Simpson and John Longmire. But like it definitely becomes on all the panel shows, who's like, it's biggest recency bias of like who's right in front of me. Like
Yeah.
it was when Ross Lyon got the St Kilda gig, it was like he was on every panel show that year. So
Yeah.
they were like, oh, Ross Lyon's a shoe-in for all these roles.
Yeah.
Because he was being floated as apparently he like almost got the Carlton gig at that time and stuff.
Yeah. Refused
So
to
I'm
be,
interested to
refused
see
be
if they go
interviewed.
for, yeah,
He's-
like a
yeah.
McRae who no one knew outside of footy circles. I'm sure in footy circles he was renowned and like really nice, like great, but I never heard his name on a panel show before getting the Collingwood gig.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking like I hope the process is exhaustive.
But that's the
and they've got
point,
right
right?
people.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, is the board like, is the Carlton board? They're no good. Like they have, are their instincts wrong every time? Like, does there need to be like a complete overhaul? I mean, Luke Sayers clearly, had to step down last year because his
Oh, is that
judgment
the
was.
dick pic thing?
Yes. No,
I
sorry.
feel like
No,
more needs to
that's
be said
it's
about
a
that. That
complete
is the most-
misunderstanding. It was
That's the
he was
most outrageous story ever. Like, how is it not spoken about more? That's so
he was
funny.
he was sending his doctor pictures of his genitals and somehow
Which always happens.
yeah.
Why was it erect? No.
You don't send your
Allegedly.
doctor photos of your erect penis? How are they going to
Man,
know?
I'm so angry.
that you're
I've got
healthy?
a new doctor, and he burnt like I've got a sorry, full disclosure. I got a wart on my foot, and
Yep.
it just came out of nowhere.
Thank God it's your foot. I thought you were going somewhere different. there.
Oh, yes, I was sending him my erect penis. No, and then I asked him to burn it off, like, and he missed the wart.
Oh fuck!
So I've got this like giant, like it's like this big. It's just a giant wound, but the wart's still there, getting bigger, and I can't do it. Like so dumb. Anyway, so yeah, what were we talking about? Lisa? Yeah, the whole thing is a bit of a shambles. But in saying
Yeah.
that, I don't know. I don't think the fans will ever, as much as they say it loudly, and it's the funniest. Like Carlton fans are the funniest by far, just because of the Italian sort of great connection as well.
Yeah.
Like they're like some
Oh, the
really funny
passion.
dudes, and yeah, the passion's so hilarious and awesome. Which
Well,
is what I do like in
that's how I
Melbourne.
discovered Blue Abroad. Like I started watching him last year, like for a bit of Schadenfreude. I'm like, oh, let's
Yeah,
see these
yeah.
Carlton fans losing their minds. But then Terry was so compassionate and so thoughtful in the way
Couldn't
he would
agree more.
steer these discussions that I started like becoming a fan of the show just because I'm like, this is a great, it's a great encapsulation of fandom, and the best way I can describe it is Terry made me realize that the modern Carlton fan has more in common with a Saints fan than like previous versions, because modern Carlton fans have seen just as many wooden spoons as Saints fans over their lifetime. Like they're both loser clubs, really, essentially, if you take recent history into account. I just wanted to bring up one other thing. We're talking about
sure.
University folding in 1905. I've got a stat here from 1897. This is a St Kilda stat. In 1897, St Kilda were the first club to be fined by the competition for arriving 20 minutes late on a horse-drawn dray to their maiden VFL match against Collingwood. The fine was set to 5 guineas.
What does guineas translate in today's inflation? Is that about $1 billion or something? Like,
I don't know.
That's
Probably
insane.
$10,000 is the standard fine, right? Isn't it?
I think Carlton were trying to fine Kerno last year because he rode a push bike because it was woke or something. But
Yeah, 5 guineas.
5 guineas.
Although, yeah,
That's
you've
crazy.
got to be careful.
That's
with,
really so nuts.
yeah, you've got
sorry.
to be careful with a largely Italian supporter base using the word guineas. That's racist.
Yeah, that's true. I don't. Yeah, delete that from the record. But yeah, I love those old stats. I love all like it is like. Sorry to talk about cricket. I do like all the cricket stories too.
No, I wanted to get onto
because-
cricket.
yeah.
This is good direction
Oh,
to go in
bullshit,
because
really? Oh, wow.
you are what who hurt you from England? Why are you are so active online during the Ashes, just
Oh, I
like
love it.
provoking English fans? Like what's going on? What
It's the
happened?
perfect enemy. It's the
Yes.
perfect enemy. They're perfectly entitled. England cricket is based, you're either a northerner, who are generally legends, or posh people who are generally dickheads. Not all, obviously. So it's the perfect enemy. It's the one time you can, and I don't mean this in the way you think, like, it's like you can have a full hit of being as racist as you want because you're punching up. We were colonized by England,
Yeah.
so we can give them as much shit because we torch them all the time. They always bring up these stats, like because they won one test match here this year. I think it was the MCG one.
Mm.
They're like, first time they've won in Australia in so long. It's like Australia always wins a test on the English series leg.
Mm.
Like always, they win one or two or like draw one, and it never really gets brought up that it was so crazy. Australia knocked one off, but the one time Stokes leads one, I just think it's all so one-sided. They're so easily rolled up. They also have a good sense of humor,
Mm.
like notoriously good English. So it's just so fun. And like, I think it was really funny how much this team, like even like Sky News calling them like Captain Woke and stuff like that from the
Yeah.
Australian side. But they're all generally pretty cool dudes, like nice guys. And we did a bunch of interviews with them prior to this, and I just knew it would be a huge summer for the Ashes, obviously. And they all lent in because it was all still pretty raw the last
Yeah.
Ashes tour, and so it was the perfect enemy. It was so fun. It's a shame some of the testing go longer, but like Travis Head's such a legend. Like he's
Well,
just, like,
and
and
wasn't
he
he-
backs it up.
Wasn't he the perfect encapsulation of a response? Like, especially because all the narrative leading into the Ashes was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the best England team in years, and this is the worst Australian team in years. And then this tubby little bloke from Adelaide just comes
The
out
tubbiness is the best bit. It's so funny.
and just like smashes them all over the park. Like it was so
Yeah.
great. You're right. Like it is the only time you can feel good about being a bigot is when it
Yes.
comes to
And-
the Ashes and English cricket.
And the summer before, it was an amazing series with India. And it was awesome because, like, Indian fans are so intense and they're great. And occasionally there was, like, a racist undertone from both parties. And that was bad in, like, comment sections and stuff. But, like, overall, it was really well made, like, really good series, like, really respected their team. And in Australia, like, I spoke to so many, like, Indians that at the matches and stuff, and they were just having the best time at it and had such a fun tour, and it was just so well competed and stuff. So that was probably the contrast. Whereas like where it's England, it's kind of everyone hates England because. And we did a sketch once, and I didn't expect to do so well, but it was just going through England inventing every sport and just being shit at it immediately. And it's crazy the ones they haven't. They invented table tennis and just immediately are the worst at it. They invented like badminton. It's just Asia is so good at it. And like they've just invented like pretty much every sport, or like if they haven't, they lay claim to someone like Andy Murray. They lay claim to, even though he's clearly Scottish.
Scottish, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great. I'm really excited for the Ashes next year. Hopefully we can get over for it.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Mm.
Do you have any relationship with Cricket Australia?
A little bit. Like they're good to us. Like nothing like formal or anything. But it's kind of cool now getting to grow our platform and stuff to a point where we can kind of go direct now. We don't need a brand affiliation. It's actually weirdly harder to get like the 20th player on the Essendon list than it is to get like George Russell from the F1. So, yeah, no, I think we should be able to make something work. We were really happy with the interviews we did last summer, and we just got a lot out of them, and the players were really open, and we got about half an hour with every player. Hopefully that sort of laid the foundation for potentially that we weren't going to screw them over with the interviews and stuff like that. We were genuinely backing them. Like, we love Mitch Marsh and all that. Like, so many of the players, even the guys coming through, are just interesting. Like, they're interesting and they're humble. So I think like it'll be really fun. I know. Are you a mad cricket fan too, Charlie? Or
it's funny. I grew up a cricket fan and then dropped off for like 20 years. But then it was the Ashes 2 years ago that got me back into cricket. And so yeah, I've loved it. And it's been really good too, because what I love about sport more than anything is understanding the narratives, like the storylines, like who players are, what their relationships to other players. And I think cricket, more than any other sport, is like 90% about psychology. Like it's about, a specific bowler bowling to a specific batsman and what their history is together, and, where this, what stage of the game we're at. All that stuff I find really, really fascinating. And the more stories you can build, which is why the Ashes is so great, right? Because it's like, decades of history and narrative, and there's this entire culture around it, which makes it so fascinating. I'm going to let you go, Josh, but before I do, I did notice you played a 3-on-3 game.
I did, yeah.
Is there a chance that you or Kick It Forward could pivot into like an MK, becoming an MK influencer, where you're just doing just traveling around the world, going one-on-one and pulling people's jerseys over their heads and bouncing balls off their faces and stuff like that?
Charlie, I wish you started with this question for the pod, because I basically talk about MK nonstop.
I'm obsessed.
I fucking hate him, but I buy into his algorithm and I watch every video. He's shit. Okay, I'm just going to clarify quickly. For those that don't know, MK is a Greek-Canadian guy who goes around playing people one-on-one.
Palace or something like that?
Yeah, and he never plays guys that are very good and never posts his losses, but he basically fouls people and stuff. So on the weekend we played a celebrity 3-on-3. For full disclosure, I played a lot of basketball, but if you would ask me if I was good at basketball, I would say I'm shit, because I know what a good basketball is and there are levels and stuff like that. But I played state league in every state, played in Europe 1 year, was a semi-professional player. So whenever people ask, they say I'm shit. So I get really angry when someone says that they're good, especially when like my brother and his wife still very much involved in basketball. But I tell you what, like, I watch it all. I would love to do an MK video. We were actually going to do one last week, because the whole point of doing that 3-on-3 tournament was to play against Nick Kyrgios, because he's a mad basketball fan, and he always like posts his highlights and stuff. And I was thinking, I'm definitely better than him, and I'm old, and I torched him. I fucking torched him, and it was awesome. And it was like, my brother rang me the next day and he said, "I've never been more proud of you."
There was someone did a sketch, like an MK sketch. It was like if MK played chess. Did you see that?
So funny. Like, I love them. Have I seen it? I've sent it to like 100 people. If MK played chess, he just pulls a shirt over his head, punches him in the gut. He sucks. Like, if he came to Melbourne, like, I reckon I'd try and play him.
So what are the rules of, like, is this his own competition that he's set up, or is like one-on-one street basketball, like, is this a thing? Like, how come it's a total foul thing. People and bounce balls off their heads?
You can foul. It's normally like offense calls foul. So if you're on, like, I play, like, that's one cool thing to make friends here in my 30s. I go down to the park and play all the time. I play so much and I love it. And I reckon, and also I know as soon as I stop, I'll become unfit enough, won't be able to do it anymore. So I play 3 times a week in social comp, and then I play on the weekend at the park and bring my own ball. And I love it. But, it's just like you call your own fouls. People that get in arguments, generally the people that talk the most shit suck.
Yeah.
So it's really funny bringing that up. But, like, also, Kyrgios was really cool, by the way. He was like really humble and stuff like that, which is like, I think it was a bit of an, I think it was very interesting. I find him so interesting, and nothing that he posts about it interesting. Just like, he was in the final of Wimbledon. You know what I mean? That's not nothing. Yeah. But he doesn't like tennis.
Yeah.
Like, he'd rather play a 3-on-3 celebrity game for no money.
I reckon that comes back. That's like what I was saying about Chris Judd, Nick Revolt. There's certain people, type A personalities. It's like, I'm just going to focus on this. I'm going to be good at that. But then whatever they choose to focus on is what they become good at. Yeah. The MK thing, I'm obsessed with as well. So if he's lost, how come, are there lots of people posting video, like B-roll of his losses that I can find?
Yeah,
right.
Man. Yeah. He could lose all the time to these guys who are like, probably like me, like have played in second or third leagues, and be like, he averaged 2 points per game in college. I'm so deep on this. I'm DMing his former players that he played with
really?
at college, asking if he was good, and they're like, "No, I hate him. I actually hate him so much, but I know I'm promoting him." So, and now he's saying he would beat Bronny James. I'm like, no, you wouldn't. You just wouldn't. You are so like, even Bronny James is a meme, but he plays in the NBA and gets minutes. So you are shit. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm fired up.
I think we're going to have to do a sequel to this episode where we talk about MK. We'll do an MK specific episode of Two Guys One Cup. Josh, thank you so much for coming back on the show. It's been an absolute delight. I'll put I'll put a link to Kick It Forward in the show notes.
Yeah.
We'll be back in next week. Remember, Thursday nights on Patreon, we do teams and tips. So please jump on that if you will. Josh, I should have mentioned, we sign off with a football cliche. I like to say play on 15. Is there one that comes to mind for you?
Danger game this weekend.
Play on, not 15.
Little footy-loving dickheads, dreaming about a Premiership Cup. We love our clubs, but they never win. 2 flags in 100 years. That shit house. If you think we'll be insightful, clever, or just well researched, we're here to say that's not the case. We'll just go out and wing it.